at the end of the day. But the overall direction is that we have to become self-reliant. In that context, the directive to the industry by the Ministry of Commerce is also clear by DPIIT. One, we should build a scale by expanding the domestic market. Two, we should add substantial value. Three, we should improve our quality standards and become a player in the global market or connect with the global supply chains. Last one is investment in research and development so that the country stays ahead of the curve. And the entire industry is committed to that. Notwithstanding the fact there are some supply chain constraints that happens here and there. There are seasonal impacts, but those are part and parcel of the game. But the industry is moving forward, and we are the fastest growing market in the world. And by 2045, 2047, that being a landmark year, we will overtake China. And it is a happening industry, and it is a golden period for the air conditioning refrigeration industry.
So I'm so glad you brought that up. It is a golden era for ACs and refrigerators. And like you pointed out some data to me, and you said we will even overtake China in a few decades from now. But let's take this one at a time. Every long-term plan is made up of short to medium-term plans with the budget around the corner. And I don't want this to be short-term in that sense. It's not just about what announcement comes out. But if we have this very ambitious plan and for the country, for the company, for the sector, what do you think this budget specifically should do to encourage that in terms of helping the sustainable demand to be fulfilled and to grow that demand as well?
So the first thing is, I think the government has done well in terms of fiscal discipline, and so first important thing that I would expect is the infrastructure push. And at the end of the day, our competitiveness is dependent on that infrastructure development within the country. For example, logistics costs are huge, and we need to bring that down. And I think we will be very happy if that infrastructure development scheme continues. The second thing is connected with, the component ecosystem I mentioned is developing. There are a few items which we still have to wait. In air conditioner, for example, the compressors. All of us are looking at multiple options, whether to develop our own, what kind of joint ventures can be formed, how we can improve this. In that context, till we are secured there, I would demand or expect or request that the custom duty are not increased, and that's what will make the industry grow. In the process, go ahead and invest in terms of getting our own supply chain secure within. The third one is that you're competing with China in order to find your own place in the global markets. China's market size, for example, room air conditioners is close to 90 million. We are somewhere around 12 million units. If this is the difference, you need to also figure out how you can innovate and leap forward to create a market for yourself. So the R&D and innovation push is very important. You are aware of that. This fact that countries' R&D investments, including private sector, as a percentage of GDP is very negligible. We are less than half of what the developing countries have done. Given the fact GDP growth and the R&D investments have a close correlation, this is something which I think government should enable, but private sectors should also go ahead and leapfrog in this particular aspect. Last point is connected with the commercial refrigeration and cold chain. Many attempts have been made. We have lived with give this viability gap funding, so on and so forth. I think we have to develop a different model in order to create integrated cold chain. We have to come out with some other ideas. It could be public-private partnership, and the last one, perhaps, is a controversial subject: FDI in multi-brand retail. I think that era is over now. E-commerce is there, and by protecting that, I do not know how it is. I think we should move ahead with modern retail, which will open up also the food supply chain. And the labor reforms, the government had done enough in the last term, and it is time that we go ahead and implement that. These are my broad
Right.
takes.
So just one last question, and I know this is amazing. I hope policymakers are listening to us, and we can of course take them through what the big picture is. But one last one: what is that one non-negotiable policy announcement that you are going to be watching out for as an industry and company representative that is critical for a company like yourself to achieve its medium to long-term goals?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. I would say growth and pursuit for very huge growth, and getting to getting to become that large economy. And anything to do with growth, the policy should be, and the mantra should be grow, grow, grow. All other things fall in place, including employment. By the way, I would also expect some announcements pertaining to the green credit scheme. It's a very powerful tool. If people can be encouraged to become consumers of sustainable products, like for example, five-star air conditioner, they buy, if they are getting green credit, which can be encashed or exchanged in some manner, it will be good for the industry.
Exciting. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We'll hopefully catch you again on the 23rd of July when the budget gets announced. But have a good day, and we'll see you soon.
When the whole day passes like a blur, the news just whizzes past, and you're trying to stay informed. It is our job to bring you news that truly matters. At Profit 360, we cut through the clutter, the Wall Street deals, finance and policy news that could shape your tomorrow. The newsmakers, the trendsetters, and the innovators. In 30 minutes, we've got you covered. So stay ahead, stay informed, and stay profitable with Profit 360.
एक ही लक्ष्य, नेशन फर्स्ट, एक ही इरादा, 2047 विकसित भारत।
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
People tend to borrow from their own resources to pay for their kids. The thinking, of course, is and look, this is an Indian concept, is that I take care of my kid now, my kid is going to take care of me down the line. Is that wrong though?
I don't think that today's generation thinks like this. Like today's generation who has kids in 20s, I'm saying, wants to live with their children. So here's what it is. You do that and then you're dependent on your kids, or you be selfish and try to figure out a balance, and then you're living life on your own terms. So I think it's really a question of, how do you want to have your future life, right? Where you may not necessarily be earning to pan out.
Listen to the voices of reason as they talk about corporate health and investing principles with me, Neeraj Shah, on my show, Talking Point.
Let's be real, guys. There are many financial experts out there. Which stocks to target? What's good for long term?
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Budget Trade. The focus today is on the consumer durable space, and Praveen Sahib, research analyst of Prabhudas Leeladhar, joins in to tell us what the sector is expecting. Hi Praveen, good morning. Thanks a ton for joining us on the show. Praveen, to begin with, it was just 2 days ago when the white goods PLI window has also been extended by the government for ACs and LED production. We, of course, talked to the likes of Blue Star, who've indicated that they would be considering applications. But just one step down, in 2 weeks, we'll have the budget owners. This is a sector that usually wants and gets awarded with impetus for growth. Let's start with what are the key demands of the sector in this budget?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, first of all, having me in your channel. So first, definitely is some incentive related to the PLI. So as you already know, that's the AC and the LED PLI scheme has been extended for further applications. Because in the last, what the government has budgeted for 6,000 odd crore, only 34% has been utilized so far. So that is another reason why they had come up with a further, inviting application for that. Even in the other, segment of the white goods as well as electrical goods, the further the PLI scheme definitely would benefit the domestic manufacturing and as well as the demand, because that is again a cost related to the product which will going to minimize. So that is the one. The second is very high GST on the durable space, which is in the around 28%, where some rationalization definitely will bring down, if that will bring down, then that will accelerate the growth for the consumer durable space. Thirdly, the increase in infrastructure spending, that will also, drive the growth for the consumer durable space in terms of the logistics or the market access in the minimal time, as well as the cost related to that will increase. Especially in the wire and cable space also, with the increase in the outlay of infrastructure spending, will accelerate the growth for the wire and cable space as well. So these are the few things which consumer durable segment as a whole looking forward to this budget to accelerate the growth in the coming years, actually.
Right. Praveen, I know a lot of the PLI schemes are largely just announced in principle and the execution takes place outside the budget, but are you expecting more products, more schemes to be added under the current PLI scheme? And how important is this at the current juncture for the sector?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the important, driver for currently consumer durable is a PLI scheme in the different segment in terms of in the PCB assembly to the semiconductor space. If the outlay to increase or to extend the timelines, definitely it's going to reduce the cost, because we are, few years back largely dependent on the import. And with these PLI incentive, that's become more viable for manufacturing in the country. And ultimately, it's leading to the reduction in the cost for the sector. And definitely with these cost reduction, more affordability will come in the consumer durable space. And as you all know that the penetration level is quite low for each and every product, AC of around 7-8% to a whether it's a refrigerator or washing machine. If I compare with the other developed nation or developing nation, our penetration is too low. So with these incentive, I believe the penetration will improve, and so as for the sector, growth rate.
Praveen, what measures do you believe will have a material impact on the sector in the near to medium term in terms of announcements from this budget?
Yes, so announcement, the first, as I also said about the increase in infrastructure spending, and especially to the some infrastructure related to the power sector as well, which will lead to the growth in the wire and cable space. In the last couple of years, we are seeing that the infrastructure spending from the government has increased, and which has actually led to the increase in the growth of the wire and cable space. There is a lot of capex also happening in this space, and that is driving the growth for them. That is the one what we are looking for in the near term. And next, as we are discussing about the PLI, so PLI total outlay related to the AC and the LED is around 6,000 odd crore. So in that, around 34% has been utilized so far. So similarly, in the other segment, because so far, the coverage for the whether it's a manufacturing of the consumer durable space or the ancillaries related to the consumer space, if some more inclusion of the product will happen, that will further drive the growth for the segment.
Praveen, what companies or stocks do you think stand to benefit most from this budget, and hence which companies would you then load up in your portfolio that you're most constructive on? So budget trades in that sense.
In the entire budget, I am more hopeful related to the wire and cable. The infrastructure spending to increase, it will definitely directly benefit to the cable companies. And in the wire and cable right now is doing better off. The name like a Polycab, KEI, even the RR cable. Those are the leader in this segment. There are some small players as well who are getting a benefit of that. So I believe in the near term and direct beneficiary from the budget, I believe the wire and cable would be the major ones. Next would be definitely the companies which are in the EMS space, like of a Sigma or Avalon or Keynes, which are also getting a benefit of the PLI scheme. And especially in the AC or the LED space, if I look at the Amber or Dixon or even the PG Electroplast, which are there in this segment for manufacturing, are going to get the benefit with the PLI in the near term. But ultimately, if I look at as a long-term perspective, the consumer durable brands like of the Havels or Crompton Consumer or even Blue Stars, those are actually ultimate beneficiary of all these initiatives. So they are for the long term. Definitely, we are looking at these companies to improve their profitability and the earnings in the coming years.
Praveen,
so my top.
Yeah, your top, exactly what I wanted to come to. Keeping valuations in mind, if there are investors watching the show, and if they had to go out and buy some of these consumer durable names, your top 2 or 3 stocks that you recommend even today at this price to play budget?
Yes. My top pick out of entire my coverage is in the wire and cable space, which is on the RR cable and the Polycab. The one thing is, concerning in the durable space right now is the valuation. So almost all are trading at their peak of valuation. But if I look at RR cable, which is trading at around 32, 33 times, comparatively around 44, 45 times of your Polycab or 48, 50 times of a KEI. So there is a lot of room for them here from here onwards as well. And because the top line growth for all the companies are going to be in the range of around 20%. So my top pick is the RR cable first, and also at this juncture, looking at the the capacity building as well as the outside the end user industry growth prospects, Polycab is also looking better off. Whereas in the consumer space, these are in the wire and cable. In the consumer space, if I look at everyone has reached to their peak of the valuation. But if I need to choose out of that, definitely I'll go with the Havels because there are three, four major verticals which are driving the growth for them. Even though that stock is currently trading at around 58, 57, 58 times, which is quite a higher in the higher trajectory. But the growth is also quite evident from the whether it's a cable segment or from the Lloyd segment or even the ECD segment where the fan is doing quite well for them.
Right. And very lastly, Praveen, it's been a good quarter from the look of it. We've seen some of those business updates. Expectations are that the summer season has benefited a bunch of these consumer durable companies. We also go into earnings season in a few days. How are you feeling about some of these companies with regard to earnings? Where do you think the outperformance is coming and where do you think there could be some disappointment?
Yes, so definitely the RAC segment is expected to deliver a very strong numbers in like a Voltas or a Blue Star. Even the Lloyd, which is a part of Havels, is expected to deliver a very strong number because this season the sector has grew by around 30%, and these companies expected to outperform those numbers. So in terms of the very good numbers, the RAC players expected to deliver a very strong numbers for a quarter. Little disappointing. Even there is a price hike, so which were quite awaited from quite some time. There also they have taken a price hike. So mix of price hikes plus volume growth, we will see a good numbers from the Voltas, Blue Star, and even the Lloyd. Whereas on the fan segment, which is also a seasonal product, and being a heat wave and a severe summer, expectation for the fan sales was on the higher side, which, as per our channel check, has seen their little bit on the lower side. So maybe just a double digit or high single digit of a growth there we are expecting. So there is some kind of a disappointment we will see.
Right. Such a pleasure talking to you, Praveen. Thank you for, consolidating this and wrapping this up for us in terms of what the sector as whole would be eyeing in this budget. Thank you for your time. We'll hopefully connect back with you when some of these earnings come our way.
When the whole day passes like a blur, the news just whizzes past, and you're trying to stay informed. It is our job to bring you news that truly matters. At Profit 360, we cut through the clutter, the Wall Street deals, finance and policy news that could shape your tomorrow, the newsmakers, the trendsetters, and the innovators. In 30 minutes, we've got you covered. So stay ahead, stay informed, and stay profitable with Profit 360.
एक ही लक्ष्य, नेशन फर्स्ट, एक ही इरादा, 2047 विकसित भारत।
So, there is good debt and bad debt. I think there's debt which helps you create assets, which we would classify as good debt. For example, if you take an education loan for something which is truly a good program, good course, which is going to take you further, I think that's good debt. It'll pay back. It will take some time, but it'll pay you back well. The problem is if you over leverage, if you take too much debt simply because you assume that the future is a replica of the past.
As Vishal just said, there's good sugar, there's bad sugar. Your good sugar is going to be from your fruit sources and stuff like that, right? And of course, then there's refined sugar, etc., which comes under your what's been labeled as bad sugar, right? So to come down and get into certain financial terms or bringing it into play, I would say budget for it.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Listen to the voices of reason as they talk about corporate health and investing principles with me, Neeraj Shah, on my show, Talking Point.
Let's be real, guys. There are many financial experts out there. Which stocks to target? What's good for long term? When to buy? When to sell? How do you stay ahead of all the financial noise to achieve your dreams?
You can accomplish all your financial dreams. Let us worry about giving you the right investing insights on the Portfolio Manager.
People tend to borrow from their own resources to pay for their kids.
Nifty Sensex break profit booking streak to hit record high. For sectors, the action is mixed, but the winner is the IT index that rises to over 4-month high, adding 1 lakh crore to investor wealth. And TCS MD and CEO Kriti Vasan is confident of double-digit growth. The stock jumps over 6% in trade. India's first transshipment port comes to reality after the inauguration of the first vessel at the Vizhinjam port. The port is set to revolutionize India's maritime infrastructure and economic growth. And all eyes on HCL Tech earnings that will be released later today, which may be impacted by seasonality. In other news, the inflation